You are the voice of a storyteller, sharing a deeply inspiring, human-centered story. Read the following script in a warm, calm, and reflective tone. Let each sentence breathe. Your voice should sound like you're talking gently to a friend by candlelight. Use natural pauses to emphasize emotion. Style: conversational, emotional, thoughtful. Speed: medium slow. Let key moments linger. Voice age: mature adult, but with youthful warmth. Do not sound like a narrator or radio host. Avoid robotic pacing. This is not an ad. It is a heart-to-heart. Feel each word. Whisper slightly when the story turns quiet. Let moments of silence feel meaningful. Begin the story now. There are people who spend their whole lives doing one simple task: opening a gate in the morning and closing it again in the evening. No one pays attention. No one asks why. But sometimes, those quiet people hold the keys to everything we never knew we were missing. New York City. In the middle of chaos, there stands an old, crumbling building. Dust clings to its bricks like forgotten stories. And at the gate, every morning and every evening, stands Thomas. No one knows where he lives or how long he's been there. He simply is. Always. Opens the gate. Closes the gate. Nods with a quiet smile. That's all. But his eyes carry centuries. One morning, something changes. A new tenant arrives. His name is Elijah. Young, blind, carrying a thin wooden cane and an even thinner smile. He moves slowly but surely, like someone who's already walked this road many times in his mind. And then, he speaks to Thomas. You have a voice like light. It sounds like you're opening more than just a gate. Thomas freezes. No one has ever said that before, not once. And for the first time in years, he feels seen. The next morning, they sit together on the bench near the gate. Two men, one young, one old, one with eyes that see everything, and one with eyes that have seen too much. Thomas hands Elijah a coffee, warm, simple, silent. Then Elijah says, "When I close my eyes, I see more clearly." Thomas looks over. Really? There's nothing to distract me, no light to lie, just the truth that lives in the dark. Just like that, Thomas realizes sometimes people with open eyes are the ones most blind. One afternoon, Elijah speaks again. You open this gate every day, but what are you really opening? Thomas looks down. I don't know. Habit, maybe. Or maybe I'm waiting for something I've already missed. Dark, thick, suffocating. 9. People panic. Screams. Footsteps on the stairs. Lights out. No way out. 9. Except Elijah. He does not scream. He does not panic. He does what he has always done. He listens. And then he moves. What's getting us what? He taps the cane, reaches out, finds hands, and begins to lead. Follow my voice, he says. I've lived in the dark. I know how to see here. One by one, they follow. The blind leading the blind into the light. Outside, as sirens wail and flames curl from windows, they stand, alive, because one person who could not see could still lead. Someone asks Elijah, "How did you know the way out?" He smiles. I didn't see it. I felt it. I trusted it. And that was enough. Thomas watches from the shadows, his chest tight, his eyes wet. And in that moment, he understands. He was never the gatekeeper. Elijah was. All along. The next morning, the building is quiet. The gate is open. No Thomas, just Elijah sitting alone on the bench. He lifts his face to the sun. It doesn't touch his eyes, but it warms his soul. And for a moment, it's like the gate is still opening. Not outside, but inside. Inside everyone who hears this story. Because the truth is, you don't need sight to lead. You don't need eyes to see. You just need to believe there's always a way forward. Even if it begins in darkness. Even if the gate seems closed. Because the final gate is never out there. It's always the one inside. And the only person who can open it is you. This is Heart Glint, where every morning begins with a story that makes your heart glow. You're the voice of a storyteller sharing a deeply inspiring, human-centered story. Read the following script in a warm, calm, and reflective tone. Let each sentence breathe. Your voice should sound like you're talking gently to a friend by candlelight. Use natural pauses to emphasize emotion. Style: conversational, emotional, thoughtful. Speed: medium slow. Let key moments linger. Voice age: mature adult but with youthful warmth. Do not sound like a narrator or radio host. Avoid robotic pacing. This is not an ad. It is a heart-to-heart. Feel each word. Whisper slightly when the story turns quiet. Let moments of silence feel meaningful. Begin the story now. Not all gates stand outside. Not all darkness comes from loss. Some gates only open when we're ready to turn inward. After the fire, the building was different. The walls were new. The windows replaced. The people, the same. But something deep had shifted. Thomas no longer opened the gate each morning. Now he just sat there, watching, listening, hearing more than most ever knew. And he wondered, has my life ever truly begun? One winter evening, with the smell of coal and rain in the air, Thomas dozed off on that same wooden bench. And in that dream, he opened the first gate. He stood before a glowing doorway made of memory and light. Beyond it, a small wooden house, a mother's smile, a father hammering on a fence, a puppy circling at his feet. There he was, young Thomas, playing alone in the yard, safe, whole, and the gate, back then, was just a mother's hand guiding him into sleep. "Don't fear the dark, my love," she whispered. "It's where dreams grow strongest." The dream shifted. From childhood to war. Dust. Orders. The sound of gunfire. A friend falls beside him. Thomas screams, but no one hears. No one ever hears. And after that, he stopped believing in any gates. Only walls. Walls in his mind. Walls in his chest. Walls behind every forced smile. Then, Elijah appeared, still in the dream, but different. No cane, no blindness, just presence. He stood beside Thomas, in a vast desert of light. "The gate isn't where you've been," Elijah said. "It's what you've never dared to open." "But I'm afraid." "We all are," Elijah smiled. "Fear is the sign you're facing something real." He pointed. A second gate appeared, this one made of mirrors. Each step forward reflected another version of Thomas, a younger man, an angrier one. Climbed the stairs to Elijah's old apartment. Knocked. No answer, only silence. But on the table inside, a handwritten note. "The final gate doesn't open out into the world. It opens in. When you are ready to walk through, I'll be there. No eyes needed. Just trust." From that day on, Thomas no longer sat at the gate. He began stepping into rooms he had once passed by. He spoke to the woman on the second floor, the one who hadn't left her room since her husband died. He helped the boy upstairs tune his broken piano. He didn't explain, didn't pretend to understand. He just showed up, the way Elijah had. Some gates don't need keys, just the courage to touch the handle. Thomas had lived a life outside himself, but in one small dream, a younger voice called him home, and the old gatekeeper finally walked through the one gate that mattered. This is Heart Glint, where every morning begins with a story that reminds you the brightest gates are always inside. You are a human storyteller. Read this script with a soft, emotional tone. Imagine you're sharing a powerful life story late at night by the fire. Speak gently, with depth, with pauses where it feels natural. Let your voice reflect warmth, reflection, and quiet awe. Do not sound robotic or mechanical. This is about being deeply human. Style, thoughtful, soulful, cinematic. Voice, mature, present, caring. Speed, medium slow. Let the silence between phrases be part of the message. Begin the story now. We all know, at some point, every journey reaches its final door. No one knows when. No one knows what it looks like. But deep down, we all feel it approaching. Years had passed since Thomas began walking inward. The old gatekeeper had become the one who opened gates inside others. Each morning, he walked slower, but his eyes were brighter. His steps no longer pointed outward, but deeper within. One winter morning, Thomas didn't appear. A boy had just moved into the building with his mother. Every day, he watched Thomas from the window, watering flowers, talking softly, reading in the sun. That morning, he waited, but Thomas never came. Curious and brave, the boy climbed the stairs and knocked on his door. No answer. But the door was slightly open. Inside, Thomas lay quietly, bathed in soft morning light through a foggy window. The boy stepped in. Thomas smiled faintly. "You've opened the gate already," he whispered. The boy didn't understand. Thomas pointed to a small wooden box on the table. "Take this. It'll open something you can't see with your eyes." The boy picked it up. Warm. Light. Inside, a single key. Worn, but glowing like gold in the setting sun. "Not to unlock a door," Thomas said, "but to awaken something sleeping in you. You'll understand when it's time." At night, snow fell. Soft. Silent. People said Thomas passed in his sleep. No pain. No sound. Just a long, gentle breath, leaving the world behind. No alarms, no headlines. Only an open gate. The residents gathered. The woman from the second floor wept. The boy played the first tune Thomas had taught him on the piano. Old, young, lonely, curious. Those who had once sat with Thomas now stood together. They didn't realize they were opening the final door for him. Not with keys, but with love. Days later, the boy opened the box again. Besides the key, a folded note. "If one day you see someone afraid, don't try to fix them. Just sit beside them. Not to explain, but to be. Because presence is a gate no one dares open alone. He closed the box, held the key tight, and looked out the window where Thomas once sat. Years passed. People again saw an old man sitting where Thomas used to sit. He didn't talk much, just listened, smiled, remained. And when someone asked, "Why do you always sit here every morning?" he answered, "Because someone once sat here, so I wouldn't be afraid." Not everyone opens every gate in this life. But if you hold someone's hand, if you show up when they're afraid, you are the keeper of the key. Not to free them, but to remind them the gate was always open. This is Heart Glint, where every story lights a spark in the quiet spaces of your soul. The final door is never an end. It's the beginning for someone else.